Right to the Lifeability podcast. Thank you so much for supporting my mission of reaching the wider audience and allowing them to explore and embody various strategies so that they can create a more meaningful life for themselves. So I'd love for us to start off with you sharing a little bit about your, journey into meditation, but also specifically the Silva Method.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for asking. So, really, my journey began 14 years ago. I was in corporate and I've been in corporate ever since I left school up until that point. And I went through the worst time of my life about 14 years ago. I just immigrated to Australia. I just wasn't on top of things. I just felt like I couldn't get on top of things. I started to become very stressed in my job. It then led to anxiety. I became exhausted. I was really overworked. And eventually this led to me just suffering from extreme stress and adrenal fatigue to the point that I became physically ill. And I was then ill for 18 months. No doctor could help me. And I knew deep inside no doctor could help me because I knew this was all really stress related. But after 18 months, it was honestly the worst time of my life. And I was so desperate to get out of the place I was in that one night I was just scrolling on the internet, just hoping I'd find some kind of answer. And somehow, some way, I stumbled across the Silva Method website. Now, back then, I'd never even heard of the Silva Method. And it wasn't so much the website that got my attention. It was more, I read the review of a guy there who said he was in a sales role just like me. And he wrote there that he was doing so badly, he was afraid of being fired. And then he said he did the Silva Method. And in just 6 months, he became the top salesperson. Well, in that very moment, I just made a decision. I took the action and I bought that program. And back then, it wasn't even the live program. I just got a box of CDs. And I woke up at every single morning at about 5 a.m. I had so much hope that this was going to turn my life around. I just thought, please, if this could just work. And nothing had really changed, but it felt inside like everything had changed. And I just started to practice every single day, waking up at 5 a.m. and just going through those CDs over and over again. Now, without realizing it, I was reprogramming my mind. Anyway, about 5 months later, the very same thing happened to me. I also went from a place of afraid of being fired to becoming top salesperson in the company. And then I stayed top salesperson for 4 more years until I left to work for myself. I was selected into the top talent team. I got promoted to director. I won Executive of the Year award. And I'm not telling you this to impress you. I'm telling you this to impress upon yourself and the audience that the Silva Method was vastly different to any other personal development that I'd done. And I had done a lot before that. And I think it's because the program is really very well structured and it's very simple. You can teach it to an 8-year-old. In fact, I've had a 7-year-old in my class, as young as that. And so that just really turned everything around for me, and just that consistent maintaining of the success was not like going up and down. And then everything worked out. And when everything worked out for me, sadly, a few months later, my younger brother, who was only 21, he sadly and tragically passed away. Here's his photo, actually. That's him there. And yes, he was only 21. And when that happened, I just questioned absolutely everything in my life. And I came to a realization deep inside that I had all this success, but deep down I was really unfulfilled. And I didn't really know what my life purpose was. I didn't even know what the term meant. And then I thought, hold on a minute. If the Silva Method helped me taking my life from the worst place it's ever been to turning everything around in 5 months, surely I can use the Silva Method to help me find my life purpose. And long story short, I can tell the story, but it's a bit long. I did eventually find my life purpose through the Silva Method. I then realized it's what I do today. It's teaching, training, coaching, speaking. But the amount of limiting beliefs I had and the fear to leave corporate and the false illusion of security was just enormous. And I thought, the Silva Method's helped me with all these things. So I just created a vision board for myself. I started to visualize a new future for myself, and everything worked out better than I expected. And I found the perfect opportunity to help people invest in property, which I still do today, which is what I call my financial bridge out of corporate. And then from 2015, I've built my personal development training business, which does several modalities today besides the Silva Method.
Amazing. And, like they say, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. So I'm curious to know, did you have any experience of meditating or visualizing prior to engaging into the Silva Method?
So little. The only thing I got was, I don't know where I got it. It's about 10 minutes of listening to rushing waters that someone told me has got a binaural beat in the background and it helps your brain. And that was the only thing I ever did. Seriously, I used to go to meditation classes with a Buddhist monk in South Africa on a Thursday night, but it was very short meditation. It was more a lecture. And then you did a 15 minutes or 20-minute meditation. So no, I hadn't practiced. But the interesting thing about the Silva Method, people who don't know it very well and they hear it's a meditation program. It's a dynamic meditation program, which is not a passive meditation program, because passive meditation, which I've also done subsequent to finding the Silva Method, where you clear your mind and want to eliminate thoughts and be really present. The Silva Method takes you to a meditative state, but we do the opposite. We actively engage the mind through advanced visualization, mental rehearsal, using a lot of creative imagination. And with all that imagery and then feelings of whatever you're visualizing, we then kind of rewrite the subconscious programming or re-imprint the subconscious, so to speak. And then once you've imprinted into the subconscious, a person's behaviors and actions almost become automatic. So you just start, everything just starts changing in your life, and it's almost effortless. It's not the same as, oh, I really got to do this and I've got to work hard and I've got this plan and I've got to do a to-do list. It's the very opposite. It's quite a graceful and easy transition, and you're doing it in your mind and your life starts to reflect it more and more on the outside.
So tell us a little bit more about what it exactly entails.
Well, the Silva Method is this dynamic meditation program. It's like a toolbox of techniques. It's, as far as I know, the original personal development program. I'm talking about the Western world here. It was founded by a man named Jose Silva. He did 22 years of research before this ever became a public program, and it became a public program back in 1966. So it's been around for over 55 years. It stood the test of time. I reckon about 10 million people have done it. They write up on posters, and that's 6 million. You won't find a negative review. It's the most powerful program. So in this toolbox, you literally have a technique or process to handle anything you'll ever face in your life, and you'll be completely self-reliant and self-empowered. So we start off with how to manage your inner dialogue, your negative self-talk. We also learn how to sleep anytime, anywhere, without the use of any medication or tablets. How to wake up every day without an alarm clock and feel refreshed. How to stay awake if you're getting drowsy on the road and you're driving, for example, you don't want to fall asleep. How to be more awake. We have a dream technique. The dream technique, I started to practice. Once I became a trainer, I thought, I haven't really practiced this technique. And through a dream, I'm just looking here to find my book, which I've just packed because I'm going on a trip. But I actually got the download to write a book, which I've written, called Living in the Flow, which came to me in a dream. That's also using the Silva Method. Then we have goal achievement and problem-solving technique, like Mirror of the Mind. We have another technique just to really easily make a decision. How some people, including myself, struggled with some decisions in my life, like should I do this or should I do that, or do I take that job or do I leave this job? There's just a simple technique for that called the glass of water. And then we also have my favorite, which is it's like creating a mind sanctuary where you have in your mind, you create them, two kind of guides or counselors or gurus, so to speak. One's a male, one a female, and you create them in your mind. Whether they're real or imagined doesn't really matter. And it sounds really simple and like, what's that about? But when you use the technique after being trained in it, it is so super powerful. The information that I've got to help me in my life is absolutely off the charts. I've had some really complex business situations where I was thinking of getting legal advice. It was so complex. Just went into, it's called the lab and counselors. I just went into my lab. 20 minutes, I'm out. I'm writing a whole page of notes, and everything is resolved so simply, so peacefully, kindly, compassionately, and it just is phenomenal. Even creating speeches that I had no idea what I meant to say at this event. I just closed my eyes, went in there, and all the information came. I couldn't write fast enough. 5 minutes later, I've got a perfect speech. So I've used it for all kinds of things. And then it's a 4-day course. The last 2 days is intuition training, which rather, it's mind-blowing how intuitive everybody is. And if you did the course, you would just be absolutely blown away on day 3 and 4 as to how much intuition you have. So that's really the program. And we do a life exercise as well. And there's some more techniques, but those are the basics.
Mm-hmm.
And
so with the lab technique that you're talking about, is that similar to, I guess, taking the yin and yang of yourself and getting them to interact with each other and seeing what comes up?
You could put it that way. Those two counselors that we create in our imagination are really like a personified version of our higher self, because we do have higher guidance. That's intuition. But some people who are not aware of the intuition, I don't know how to trust it, because intuition has no form. And as a human being, we have a form. So if I look at you, I see your eyes and your face, and I can relate to you. So for some people, non-form is too elusive. So with your imagination, if you create two people, and it is the yin and the yang, male and female, you ask the one, like my female counselor is a far more spiritual, unconditionally loving and compassionate person. And my male counselor is very business strategic. He's very, very smart. And I'm telling you, like, they're real people, because when you're there, they are like real people, but the information is incredible where it comes from. And no one can really say, is this your own mind? Is it coming from the universe? Because quantum physics has proven that absolutely everything in this entire universe is connected. So you and I are connected to each other. We are connected to everything and all information, past, present, and future, all intelligence. So using a process that's structured and simple that a human being can relate to, even if they're very logical and analytical and skeptical even, they would relate to this, and this would work for them.
Mm.
And I want to just the other technique that I forgot to mention, very important. The Silva Method teaches you how to heal your body. Mind-body healing is massive. And not only how to heal yourself and take away headaches and never use a headache pill in your life again, but also to heal other people remotely. And it's not woo-woo. Remote healing was actually scientifically proven and documented back in the 90s. And it's very powerful, and it's a beautiful thing to heal other people who want to get better.
Mm. Sounds pretty amazing. Going back to the history or the roots of the Silva Method, and you mentioned when you first started, it was really just CDs that you're hearing constantly. What's the program like now? Is there a specific structure to it, or is it something that someone sitting at home can sort of start with and then progress on to actually doing the course with a trainer?
Yep, absolutely. So this here is the Silva Method Blue Book. There's actually an older cover, but that's out of print now. So there's this one, which is the most phenomenal book. And I would recommend, if anyone is not sure about the Silva Method, just buy this book, Silva Mind Control Method, written by Jose Silva himself, with another man, Philip Miele. And if you enjoy that book, I would recommend doing the 4-day life program, because even in this book, if you do just the book and learn the techniques through the book, well, I love the book because the stories are amazing, and they will give you so much encouragement and hope as to what you can achieve yourself with your own mind. And then they give the techniques in the book. Now, if you do the book, it takes about 40 days of continual practice every day to train your mind with a countdown, meditating, and so on. If you come and do the 4-day program, you learn all of that in 4 days. And I can honestly say by lunchtime of the first day, you're already able to meditate. And by the end of the first day, there's so much change in your brain. if people only knew how powerful their brains were and the ability of the brain to learn and change so fast, it's so powerful, that I would recommend the 4-day program. If a person likes the online program, definitely they're available. Just go to silvamethod.com, which is the United States international website of Silva International, and they have programs there online. The thing about the live 4-day program, which you cannot get from the online, the book, video series, is the interaction with the trainer and personal attention and personal questions answered. Anything you need to know, having the trainer in the room is just amazing. And then also the group all meditating together, there's an energy in that room. Even if you just walk in the door, people tell me, they come in the door and they say, there's such a nice energy in this office. There's such a nice feeling here. When we're all meditating together, that's exactly what you feel. And then on intuition training, you really want to sit next to a person when you're doing the training, because you need to detect things using your intuition. And then you get immediate feedback, and you get many, many examples like that. And that's what we call points of reference. So the more points of reference you have, the more you learn to refine your intuition. Now, wouldn't a person rather want to do that sitting right next to the person you're doing the intuition training with than, I don't know, some other method? And it's also great because from the very first day through all 4 days, after every exercise, you get to share your experience verbally with someone next to you in a group, sometimes to the whole room. It just depends on what we're doing, in a nice, comfortable and safe space. And a person wants to share, hey, when I did that meditation, I saw this, and did you also feel that? And I felt a texture on my hand, and I imagine touching this thing. So you do want to share. So I think the live training is great. And also once you've done the live training, the best benefit ever, you can review for free, unlimited, for the rest of your life, anywhere in the world, in over 110 countries. You only pay a nominal seat charge. So that, for me, is just enormous value.
And so I know you mentioned that you've done a fair few personal development workshops or events, but this was something that really stuck with you. How would you compare the Silva Method to a program that also provides that accelerated learning, and the other one being breath work? Because there are also so many experiences that I've heard of that have come out of just different breathwork workshops.
I love that question, because I love breath work. So I've done holotropic breath work, and I always say, if life was a beach ball, if I held a beach ball, those old traditional beach balls with the stripes on them and all the colors, and I showed you the beach ball like this, and I said, Shraddha, what do you see? And you say, oh, well, I see blue and red and yellow. And I'll say, okay, well, now you've seen the beach ball, have you? And you'll say, yep, I've seen the beach ball. But if I turned it around, I said, well, what do you see now? I see purple and I see, green and something else. Then I say, but I thought you saw the beach ball. Well, I didn't see that side. Okay, turn it again. And now what do you see? You're going to keep telling me you see something else, but I thought you saw the beach ball. So what I've learned is that there is no one thing. We are so unlimited as in terms of our potential. We are so unlimited. We are infinitely amazing creations, human beings, and our brains are amazing. So I think everything has its place. I also became a Louise Hay Heal Your Life workshop leader, and that program, I did that now only in October 2022. If you asked me after I did that, or now recently in this last year, I'd have told you that program absolutely changed my life, and nothing's changed my life like it. Now that's completely different to the Silva Method. And breathwork, holotropic breathwork, if I tell you, it was the most spiritual experience I've ever had in my life. And I did it for 3 hours, once in South Africa, once here in Australia, with a man named Bruce Copley. He's retired now. Just amazing. I think everything has its place. So they're all different. What the Silva Method is, it's practical. Anyone can do it. As I said, you can be 8 years old or up, and you can come and join. I've even trained a 7-year-old in Perth, and she was amazing. Great student. The kids are the best students. There's also learning techniques for test writing and retaining information if you're reading or studying. So it's like a practical toolbox. You can never, ever feel stuck in your life, ever. You'll always feel self-reliant and self-empowered. But other modalities and other courses all have value. So I couldn't really say anything is better than anything else. And the Silva Method is also experiential. You're not coming to a course and sitting in a lecture for 4 days. That would knock me to sleep. It's experiential. So I'll explain the technique and then I'll say, all right, we're going to do it now. Then take a deep breath, close your eyes, and we start the cycle. Some of them are 30 minutes, some are 45. But you using your mind and you working on your own dreams and your own goals or your own health of your body, whatever you're working on, you're doing it in the course. So as every day goes on, you are feeling better and better about your life. You're feeling healthier. We've had people come into the course on chemotherapy who are quite sick and they're gray. And I'm telling you, by day 2, they look better. By day 3, they've got some color back in their cheeks. And by day 4, they look like a whole new person. It's just from a lot of meditation and positive imagery in the mind at a meditative state at the alpha level.
Yeah, wow. For someone who, is experiencing a chronic health condition, but they're really in an acute stage, what can you suggest that they could do at home to start that process using the Silva Method?
All right. If I may be cheeky enough to answer this with 2 things, I think it would be quite helpful. I'll just pick up a book here. So for the Silva Method, I'll start off with that. To visualize. So first of all, a person must have a positive expectation. You must have a positive mindset. Be careful of your words that you say. Be careful of the thoughts in your mind. Don't keep thinking, I'm so sick, am I going to die? Or things like that. Cancel is a Silva Method technique. Go cancel. Hopefully, I'll feel better today. If that's all you said, that, or every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. That's one of the statements that the Silva Method uses in every meditation. But being positive about it. And then to close your eyes and visualize yourself or that organ getting better, and don't come out the visualization or the meditation until you have a feeling inside that with your visualizing and imagination, you've corrected the organ. So it's just, everyone can do this. You keep visualizing, whether you imagine it healing with blue, white healing light. If you want to use your hands, we do this in the Silva Method. We use really vivid imagination. It's not practical. It's not logical. It's the right side of the brain. It's imagination. We can, for example, if there are spots on a person's liver, we'll take pink foam and a scrubbing brush and scrub them off and rinse them with a hose using imagination. But eventually we see the organ looking healthy. Then you're done. Then you come out. For chronic medications, this book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, inside has got a body dictionary. So if I open it up, it looks like this. It's got every condition here. So if I just opened anywhere and said, for example, hypothyroidism. The probable cause is rage at being left out, or infection is irritation, anger, or annoyance. And then it's got a new thought pattern or affirmation that you can use. So my thinking is peaceful, calm, and centered, depending on the cause. So it's got the whole body dictionary here from A to Z of almost every possible condition you can think about. This is so powerful because 96, I would even say 98% of all illness comes from an underlying unresolved emotional upset. It's usually from relationships. Someone's angry with someone. It could be current. It could be 50 years ago, but someone's holding on to something. For example, breast cancer is not getting something off your chest, literally off your chest. So you get it in the chest. Or if you can't digest your anger, people get stomach problems. If you're inflexible, people have neck problems. If you're self-righteous, you have knee problems. The right side of the body relates to a male in your life, the female side to the left side to a female in life. So once you understand the body dictionary, a person very quickly understands, well, what's really going on? And if you go and address that thing, the stories in Louise Hay's book are incredible. Once you resolve that thing, the body heals. So I would do it both sides because it's great to visualize, but if you're angry and resentful every day, that negative energy is upsetting the tissue, the molecules, the atoms, the subatomic particles at that level are energy. So negative energy at the lowest part of your body, which is energy, is getting negatively disfigured, you could say. It's just in a very bad structure, and that causes over time illness.
Yeah, and so from what I'm hearing, we've obviously got the visualization that you're using with the Silva method. Are you doing that silently? Are you playing some sort of music in the background to get you into that meditative state, or are we really just visualizing whatever part of the body that is affected and sending it good vibes and good healing?
You could do either. So if a person is somewhere where they don't have any sound, you could just close your eyes and you'll be able to do it because you've practiced being in the class. We do also have available the alpha sound and also the theta sound. Now, the alpha sound is just a beat. Jose created it literally with a metronome, and it's an audio interpretation of the alpha level. So what the audial nerve hears, the brainwaves copy. So alpha is a calmer, relaxed state, more calm than now. We're in the beta level, talking and looking at each other. And if you're more relaxed than alpha, you're going to theta. But alpha is the most stable brainwave state where the body goes into homeostasis. Healing is accelerated. The immune system is boosted. So I would play, if you could, the alpha sound. Now, there's actually other Silva Method programs that are also trained. One of them is Silva Dynamic Healing. And in Dynamic Healing, we play the alpha sound through a proper speaker with a magnet, not earpods or a mobile phone, a proper speaker that's got that round magnet in it. And within about 10 to 15 centimeters away from that speaker playing the alpha sound, there's a magnetic field created. And if you put something into that magnetic field, it causes the subatomic particles to vibrate at that same frequency. And just lying there, go to sleep if you want. Let it just play. Let's say you have a sore shoulder. We recommend putting a speaker. We don't like Bluetooth because it's also EMFs. Just use a wire and put the speaker within a range of about 10 to 12 centimeters from your shoulder there. And just lie there and relax or go to sleep. And literally that heals your shoulder. The stories on healing with the alpha sound as a frequency are just incredible. And Einstein used to say, one day all healing will be frequency. There are some people in the world who know about this, and they're incredibly advanced. They've created devices to go under your bed that put a healing frequency of alpha on, so while you sleep, it can heal you. And some people have got no clue what I'm talking about, and they're going to think, Jeanine's mad, she's lost the plot, I don't know what she's talking about. However, everything is energy. Me, you, the universe, every air molecule, particle, everything is energy. And everything is energy in a state of vibration. And if the frequency is negative and unhealthy, whatever, if it's an organ of the body, it's going to be unhealthy. And if you can play the alpha sound and change through the waves of the magnetic field that you create, you can create healing. So there's that, there's visualizing, and there is a sound or no sound, so you can use either.
Absolutely. And it's all about awareness at the end of the day, right? Like we only know what we know. But if we're open to receiving, and this is part of, what this is about, what the Life Ability podcast is about, that there is so much out there that, will lead us in the direction that we want it to. So thank you for that, brief introduction to the Silva Method. There are so many programs out there, and like you mentioned, that there is similarities between listening to, I guess, some reprogramming words, but actually understanding and going through the whole process of the Silva Method, and tapping into the different areas that you mentioned, like the dreams and the intuition, and building all that up, obviously is going to have a ripple effect and create that space of well-being for us. So I'd love for us to finish off with 3 questions that I ask all my guest speakers. The first one being, how would you like to see the future of holistic health and well-being?
Oh, I love your question. I just love it, okay? I would love to see health, well-being, holistic health this way. I went to a podiatrist the other day and I just asked him if he knows of people like Dr. Joe Dispenza. He said, yes, he's a chiropractor. I said, have you heard that he healed himself from a crushed spine? He goes, no. I said, okay, have you heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton? They said, no. Have you heard of Jill Edwards? No. Louise Hay? No. So I said, well, I know Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's the pioneer. He wrote The Biology of Belief. He started in the 80s. He had death threats. He proved the importance of perception and positive thoughts, positive energy, negative thoughts, negative energy, how everything is about energy. And he said the problem with medical school that hasn't caught up, they are dealing with matter, physical matter, so atoms and molecules, whereas quantum physics deals with energy. So when I mentioned this to the podiatrist, he says, don't talk to me like that, don't talk to me like that. I can't talk about that. So I said, well, do you believe in visualization or projecting healing or even prayer healing? He said, no, I can't talk about that. So what I'd like to see is the worlds merge. And I'll tell you something fascinating. I've had several doctors, oncologists, pediatricians, even neurosurgeons as Silva Method students. And I had an oncologist lady who was really quiet on day 2 or 3 of the Silva Method. And I just caught her in the bathroom and I said to her, is everything all right? She goes, my mind is so confused. My mind is so open to all this new stuff on how we can heal ourselves. And she said, I'm trained on none of this, and I may not even speak like this, and I'm just confused. So I suggested to her she reads Dr. Bruce Lipton's book and one called Conscious Medicine by Jill Edwards. Anyway, she was fine by day 4, and she said, you know what, this is so amazing. There's so much more opportunity. And we had a bit of a discussion. She called me about 6 months later, and she said, Jeanine, I have to tell you something. I didn't really know what to do with all this information about the healing side from the Silva Method, but the only thing I did was I told all my patients to have a positive outlook on their condition and just to be positive every day, not to be negative, to be positive. And even if they wanted to use an affirmation like every day in every way, I'm getting better, better, and better. If that feels good for you, use it. She said, Gina, I kid you not, I'm the only oncologist out of all my peers that I know of that every one of my patients is in remission.
Wow.
And that's and that's only from having a positive mindset. So I told her about, there's a Dr. O. Carl Simonton. He's the pioneer. He was an oncologist administering chemotherapy and radiation, and he came to understand the power of visualization, and he eventually merged over to healing thousands and thousands of people from cancer using visualization and positive imagery. And I just think that the two worlds kind of combat each other. The one doesn't want to talk about the other side, and the other one doesn't want to talk about the other side. I think it needs to really be holistic. And I think what is true is when doctors say that a condition is incurable. So Nancy works for me, so I can talk about her story and she won't mind me sharing this. She works for me. She had rheumatoid arthritis for 25 years. She was on such strong medication. It was a form of chemotherapy called methotrexate. Her doctor told her that she must stay on the medication, and she was still in pain with the medication, and the chances of her landing up in a wheelchair were quite likely. So she came to do the Silva Method in 2018, and she used the Silva Method mirror of the mind technique every day. The same time she'll take medication, she did meditation, okay? And she stopped taking the meds. Now, I don't recommend anyone do that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling anyone what to do. There's not advice by any means. And she never told the doctor. She just decided that that's her path, and she's entitled to do whatever she wants. So she stopped taking the medication, never told the doctor, and she started to visualize every day. It took about 5 months, Shraddha, and then eventually the pain was really significantly reduced, and she knew she was turning a corner. That was at 5-month mark. And I'm mentioning 5 months. People don't think, oh, there's any quick fixes, because there's no quick fixes here. It depends on your mind and your beliefs and your body. After 8 months, her pain was completely gone. She went back to the doctor. She had a blood test taken. Her rheumatoid factor was 0. Subsequent to that, and they told her it's an autoimmune condition that cannot be cured. Subsequent to that, she was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, also autoimmune disorder. The doctor, she said, can I get rid of this? He said, no, it's incurable. And if your rheumatoid, if your thyroid factor, whatever it's called, in the bloods doesn't improve, we're going to have to put you onto a tablet for the rest of your life. She started focusing on the Silva Method using visualization. She had nodules, 2 on the one side, 1 on the other, on her thyroid after a scan. She used creative visualization. Imagine shaving them off with like a high-pressure hose, almost like a gurney type of machine. She went back to the doctor. I actually went with her that day. She had her blood results. Her hypothyroidism, 0. So Nancy's got no pain. She got no rheumatoid arthritis. This is 5 years later. 0 in her blood. She's perfect. And when she went to a doctor at some point and told him, he wasn't actually very happy with her. He was actually didn't want to even know how she did it. He was quite upset. First he said, oh, it's impossible that you just don't have it. No one can just not have it. He got a bit angry. And then she said, well, my bloods. And then she this is when she went to see him. Take my bloods right now. I've been fasting and you'll see that I don't have it. So she said, you can't just not have it. So when the blood test came back and he called her, he said, I don't know what you're doing or what's happened, but you don't have any rheumatoid factor in your blood. It's come back 0. She says, well, do you want to know what it is? And he said, no, actually, I don't want to know. Thank you. Goodbye. So we don't expect all of them to be like that. I think doctors have a great place in this world. You know, if I broke my leg, I'd sure want to go see one. If I cut my hand, I'd sure want to go see one. I just think these two worlds need to merge, because when a person is told that a condition is incurable, it's true that it's incurable from the outside. So medicine and things won't, but nothing, I believe, is incurable from the inside. So if you heal the emotional underlying root cause, if you resolve that resentment, maybe come to forgive the person who's betrayed you or whatever it is, stop all the anger, stop all the guilt, stop all putting yourself last. Very often women who put themselves last have problems with their breasts or thyroid problems, because the thyroid in Louise's book is, when's it my time? It's like mothers always give to their kids, give to their family, give to their, like, when's it my time? That's what the book says. So if a person does some self-love, extreme self-care, understands what's the underlying root cause by using the body dictionary, work on that, and if you need to take medication, take it. Tell your doctor you want to work together to heal and get off medication. Even one of the students of the Silva Method, my brother died of epilepsy, okay? I only found out this after he'd passed. There was a woman in America, a student of the Silva Method. She had severe epilepsy on the highest dose, still having seizures. When she did the Silva Method, she spoke to her doctor and said she wants to work together and see if she can come right and heal herself. Well, I can tell you now, this is years and years later, she's medication-free and seizure-free. So that doctor had an open mind, and he said, sure, what are you doing? So he wants to know. She's like, I'm visualizing. He says, well, if it reduces, let's drop the meds. And if it reduces, we'll drop the meds, and let's keep going and let's see if it works. People have healed themselves from tumors, cancer, even paralysis. The Silva Method trainer in Singapore, her name's Pooja, she healed herself from paralysis. She crushed the nerve bundle in her neck. She broke her neck. She fell out of a 2-story building. So everything is, yes, incurable from the outside, but nothing is incurable from the inside. And I think if the doctors could talk about this, that'd be fantastic healers.
Yeah, amazing. And it's interesting that you talked about the positive visualization, and I'm curious to know how much belief has to play a role in that, because someone could visualize something positive, but if there's no belief there, then it'd be very hard to be attuned with that.
You are absolutely 100% spot on. The line we use in the Silva Method is, your beliefs determine your living experience. So you're absolutely right. That's the same way is if a person believes that the surgery is done by like a doctor who's in for the best doctor, and it's not the best doctor, that have a bad outcome. They've even proven studies. And those who think they've got the best doctor in the country, they just healed really well. So your belief does determine everything. So the book that I'd like to recommend. And if people don't want to read it, then on YouTube, it's free. It's a 2.5-hour lecture called The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton himself. I have to say this as strongly as I can. Everybody must watch that YouTube of our video with your whole family. And if you're a doctor, please, you must watch that. The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton. Your mind will open so far wide. It's just something everyone needs to know.
Yeah, thank you. The second question being, what's your favorite occupation to engage in? So, occupation being any activity that you do on a day-to-day basis, or a week, or a month.
Okay, my favorite thing in the whole world is dancing. Okay, I just love music and I love dancing. And if there's a party, I'll be on the dance floor more than anyone else. That's my favorite thing. My routine that I have, I do meditate first thing in the morning every single day. If anyone's only going to meditate once a day, use the morning. I do gratitude journal every single night. So I do it at the night because I believe the way you go to sleep is the way you wake up. And what a great way to have the last thing in your mind of gratitude and you go to sleep. All that kind of marinates in your subconscious. So it's very good for you. And then I'm always studying and learning. So that's my favorite thing to do, is to continuously learn and research things and understand more new information. I do meditate more than just once a day, if I can. I did today. I've done it 3 times already today. So I could not live a day without meditation. If I can give anyone a tip and you don't meditate, it doesn't even matter if you try to start for only 5 minutes a day in the morning. You'll feel different after 7 days. And I promise you'll feel different after a month. And I just want to give everyone listening a gift. On my website is a free 30-minute Silva Method long relaxation guided meditation. It accelerates healing, boosts the immune system. If you've got any health condition, it'll help you. And if you don't have a health condition, it can reduce anxiety, even help you from depression. And if you've got high blood pressure, it will lower blood pressure. If you use it every day for 30 days without missing a day, your blood pressure will start to improve, your cholesterol will start to normalize, and your blood sugar as well. So that's a gift. My website is JeanineSciaccaInternational.com. On the homepage is the Long Relax.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And the last one being, I think you've given us quite a few valuable resources, but the last question was going to be, what are 3 resources you can recommend for someone who's wanting to change but doesn't know where to start?
What a great question. If someone wants change and doesn't know where to start, the first thing I'd say is, what is your style of learning? So if you're audio or visual, if you're audio, listen to this book on audio. Listen to this book on audio. If you're a visual person and like to read, I would recommend reading this book. And then take it from there. And then
I'll just jump in and say it's a Silva Method control book, just so someone who's listening rather than watching this. The Silva Mind Control Method.
Thank you so much, Shraddha. Silva Method Mind Control Method by Jose Silva. Listen to the audiobook or read the book. And then the other resource I would absolutely recommend is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And you can actually get the movie on YouTube for free. And you can get this audiobook, is apparently today free on YouTube. I don't know if it's meant to be there, but the entire audiobook of You Can Heal Your Life, I would definitely do those 2 resources, because the Louise Hay helps a person. I'm not assuming anything with anyone, but she starts off with helping people come to really, really take responsibility, 100% responsibility for your life, for your health, for your circumstances, for your happiness. That's where we have to start. We're not victims, because if you're a victim, you're going to blame people for the rest of your life and you're never going to change your results. When you take 100% responsibility for every relationship, your money, your health, your joy, your spirituality, you'll have so much more motivation to reach your dreams.
I love it. Being self-responsible. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeanine. So just to finish off, if people want to find out a little bit more about you and what you do, I know you mentioned your website. Is there anywhere else that they can find you?
Absolutely. So I've got a library of over 250 odd self-help videos. Some are short, 2-3 minutes, and some are hour-long lessons. On my YouTube channel, it's Silva Method Australia. That's one very good resource. Also on mixedcloud.com, The Meaningful Monday Show. I've got a radio show, and all meaningful topics are discussed. They're all there. So it's mixcloud.com/The Meaningful Monday Show. That's another very good resource if people like to listen on audio. Otherwise, my website is Jeanine Sciacca International, and I'm sure you'll put the spelling of my name somewhere because no one will get
Will. Yeah.
And I also have a Silva Method Australia website if they want to know more about the Silva Method itself. And I'm also on Instagram and Facebook.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I feel like there is a lot more deeper that we can go into the Silva Method. But this is a good introductory session, and we might have to have you on later on to deep dive.
I'd absolutely love that. And we can talk about manifesting. It's one of my favorite topics. And I also train a program called Silva Manifesting, which is the first audio program that I got. And that's why I'm passionate about it. So if you want to ever talk about that, I'm here to serve you and whoever listens to your wonderful podcast. I think you're doing an amazing work. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you asked me for this opportunity. I do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So thank you so much, Shraddha. I do appreciate it.
No worries, Jeanine. My pleasure.